Hey, this is indeed Walt from the Comic Book Men, and you're listening to the iWalter Show.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. I'm going to try to do a show. I'm actually slowly getting my voice back. Actually, it's much better tonight again, so I figured I'd do a show. Even though it's like 2:30, a little after 2:30, I'm going to try it in the morning. I'm not going to do them like I did, basically because they just kind of run thin after a while, so... I decided to do a show tonight, though. It's the 13th, Wednesday the 13th, though, which is kind of funny I mentioned that, by the way, because next month there is a Friday the 13th, I believe, and I was tempted to do it, but it's like, I don't know. I was sick for 2 days, and I have to use some of my, because where I work, if you're sick more than every day you're sick, you get paid for, which they forgot to pay me. But... excuse me, I'm coughing already. Yeah, but it gets held against you. Apparently in the past, people were taking sick time. They were using it as vacation time when they ran out of vacation. And, most places. I have a friend who actually gets this too, personal time. I'm taking a swallow of water because I don't want to keep on coughing. And, they said, okay, well, you can take, hey, you're entitled to your personal, your sick time, but, hey, if you get more than 5 days, you're going to be fired, though. And it was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Let me turn down. I got my level a little too high, I think. Let's turn it down a tad bit. Hopefully it doesn't make it that you can't hear me now. So... yeah, it was like I asked, my bosses were pretty cool about it. They said, listen, we're just, hey, if you want to use your vacation time or your personal time for these 2 days you were sick, because I had a fever. I couldn't help that. I'm not going to go in with a fever. And I basically suffered through the past 2 weeks of being, like, horribly sick. Hold on 1 minute, folks. Coughing still. So it was like, hey, we're just, I don't care about the money as much. I mean, yeah, I do. But I don't want to get, I came back to work. I don't want to get fired right away for something as stupid as having a 103 fever. So it's just unfortunate. It's going to take away from my vacation time. I get a month's worth of vacation anyway. So, but I was off for 6 months. So anyway, I'm like, one thing, it's funny. I'm going to really miss, she keeps on teasing me with this. Not even teasing. It's more of a heartbreak for me. There was this woman I work with at work when I came back. She's been helping me out and kind of get me, putting the training wheels on, get me back into doing the work. There's a guy too that helps me. He's not there every night because he kind of comes over and helps us out, trying to, get me back into the swing of things. But they've both noticed in the past. The woman I work with was her birthday yesterday on the 12th, so I wanted to just wish her a happy birthday again. She's a sweet lady. She does not look her age. She looks a lot younger. I thought she was like 20 years younger than me, believe it or not, and she's a grandmother too. So she's always joking about her grandkid. It was like, oh, wow. Really, really great person, and she gets me laughing and definitely keeps my sanity because I think after tonight and having somebody who actually can see the BS I take up with at work, she notices it quite a bit. Like, she said, yeah, the first day you came back, these people that you work with, not directly, the people that I'm underneath, basically, were pestering me about getting this for them, getting that for them. Like, I'm basically, I mean, they may not see, but they treat me like I'm subservient to them. And the supervisors are much better for the most part. So she notices that. Even the guy that was helping, who helps out, trying to get me trained again, he's noticed it too. But she was even saying tonight, it's like, yeah, they just run you ragged. And, you can't let that happen. I was like, yeah, you're right, because this is what gave me the nervous breakdown in the past more than once at where I work, because nobody really cares about anyone except themselves. And they want to make their job as easy as possible. If it means, like, you doing all their work for them or having you run around like a chicken with your head cut off, they're going to do that. They don't care about your health. Your mental health, they definitely don't care about. They don't appreciate the work you do. They say they do, but they honestly don't. Again, they rather scrutinize me and, give me a hard time and then treat me like a piece of dog crap, which this lady's even noticed too, the woman I work with. I don't want to mention her name because she's wonderful. And she keeps on, it's like, I feel like it's when you date a girl, not that I am, this woman's married, but it's like when you date a girl and then she gets to that point where she says, I'm waiting for that to happen. I hope it doesn't happen for a very long time. Where, she'll say, well, you know what? It's not you. It's me. I can't work with you anymore. So I'm being sarcastic. But no, she's great. She actually just really makes it worth coming to work because she's such a good worker. So it's this other guy that, when he shows up too. I'm sorry, I'm pointing over at the TV set with these stupid commercials at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, they both, believe it or not, they don't realize, but they've been helping keeping my sanity. So you really, basically, if you want me to, permanently leave the company, all you'd have to do is basically cut the apron strings with the both of them, and I would probably just blow up. Because, the BS I even had taken up with again today was just ridiculous. People on me running ragged. Like, I'm doing 16, I complained about this in the past. I'm like doing 16 hours worth of work. Me and this coworker, woman who's helping me, we're doing like 16 hours of work in 8 hours, not even getting offered, hey, well, if you can't get it all done, don't worry about it. You can stay a little after. And I'm going to start to hear, well, you should be able to get this done in your 8-hour shift. And if you can't, hey, it's not our problem. It's your problem. I know that's going to happen. I can see that happening right now. I can read the tea leaves. So I'll be complaining about that again. So I felt bad. I told the lady, hey, I'm glad you came in because she made my night by just showing up. It's the only thing I actually have, look forward to, that I'm not going to be hindered by all this work, because I had a coworker and he got let go. He got laid off. He came back, but he's not working with me. And now I have somebody who actually, both these people are training me, have a conscious effort on wanting to do the job right and make the place look great. But people don't care about anything except themselves. Like I said, they want their free time. A place that you go to work is not a job. It doesn't mean you go to a place and you're supposed to work. A job is to get somebody else to do your job for you and for you to relax. So I'm the one who, basically should have, like, I was thinking to myself, and I was going to joke with the woman I work with. I'm sorry. I keep on pointing my head away from the mic, so I apologize, but I get very easily distracted, obviously. But I was ready to tell her, yeah, when Halloween comes around, I should just wear a big mat that says welcome, because, I just get walked over constantly. Like, I'm not even a person. I'm a subservient human being. Not even a human being. I'm a piece of shit that, or that thing you scrape off the dirt, when you get mud on your shoes, like those little scrapers you have outside your door, like those brushes that, plant to your ground, on the ground outside your door. I'm basically the welcome mat. Not even that. God, if I was treated like a welcome mat, I'd probably be treated a little bit better. I'm moving my mic. That's what you're hearing right now. So, I just, it was funny, actually. There's a couple things I just want to mention. I'm keeping this very low key because it is early in the morning, for one thing. And plus, I'm just so happy to get my voice back. Yeah, there's so much I want to mention all at once, and I'm going to be trying to be careful. But the lady I work with, she's like really into sports. I'm not. Most people are. Most, I guess, so to speak, normal people, they love sports. And the woman I work with, even people my mom used to work with, they were always into sports and stuff, and hockey or football or baseball. Women are into it just as much as men. But she was mentioning about, and was like, the name just kind of got my interest peaked real quick. But she said, "Oh yeah, but he's an NFL player, actually an ex-NFL player, because he's not really that old. It says he was only 34." But his name was Will Smith. I was like, well, is the Will Smith that we know? Because Will Smith that I know, the celebrity who was going to be in the new Suicide Squad, he's actually from Philadelphia. Now, technically, he's from Philadelphia. But really, a friend of mine told me he actually, because he showed me more than once, my one friend Matt, where Will Smith lived. And I was asking about it. She says, oh, no, he lived in West Philadelphia. I was like, I don't think so. I think Will Smith, technically that's Philadelphia. He actually lives, in the outskirts of Philly. He lives like right below the main line because, years ago, I used to went to this place called Repo Records and Plastic Fantastic. They were down on Lancaster Avenue. And, the one, Plastic Fantastic, was actually closer to the city, the outskirts of the city. You're talking way outside the city, but still technically Philly. That's around where Will Smith lived. She's saying he lived, I think, in West Philly. I'm not even sure. Anyway, that wasn't who, thank God, got killed. It's bad enough this guy got killed. He was only 34 years old. I think Will Smith's pretty young, too. He's got to be younger than me. But this ex-NFL player has got the same name. He got killed, and it was basically in road rage, where some guy actually pulled out a gun. Apparently, he had a Hummer, and he rode up on Will. Because I watched the video. We couldn't get to play at work, so I got some news segment. They actually had footage, I guess, on surveillance cameras that we could not get to play. I couldn't find it either. But they were claiming that what happened was his wife, this guy's wife, was in the car too. An ex-NFL football player got shot and killed by somebody who was in a Hummer who was pissed off at him and basically rode up what I could speculate from what I watched that he rode up on Will Smith's car and he basically shot the guy dead. So it was kind of interesting because the woman I work with, she said, yeah, it's kind of like she couldn't believe it because she said it was black on black crime. And it's like, yeah, you hear more and more of that. So I wasn't kind of surprised, but it's a shame. This guy was like 34 years old. He was probably sitting pretty, I guess. There's some NFL players, I guess, because we were looking through different, people that were kind of sports celebrities that are basically broke now. I don't think he was one of them. But it says the shocking death of the former NFL football star, Will Smith, appeared. It was apparent road rage in New Orleans. So she was really afraid. I think she has a family member. I can't remember whom, the woman I worked with, who, I don't know if it was her son, she said. I can't remember now, so I apologize. Wants to go down to New Orleans, and she says, no, I don't want you down there. It's like, I actually wanted to go down to New Orleans. Last time I suspect, or would suspect, it's like, I've been down the south, not that far. I was down far enough. I was down in Covington, Georgia, and the people seem pretty nice. They seem pretty laid back. So the last thing you expect from like New Orleans or, down in, the southern country, part of the country, the people are that uptight, but apparently, obviously, it's just as bad as up in the north here. So it says, let's see, marked the nation's third highly publicized road rage incident in less than a week. So apparently, there's been a lot of road rage incidents. I kind of see them. I've gotten very close to losing my temper. The woman I work with, she says, I try to just ignore people. Just try not to start anything. My dad's really bad. It scares my mother because he flips out. And I got his temper, that Italian, Sicilian temper that, we have really bad tempers. And you got to watch because my mom always says, yeah, to my dad, you don't want to flake out on people because nowadays they shoot you. And it was like, hey, this is just proven right here. So, yeah, he was fatally shot on Saturday following an argument after a car was rear-ended. Police said in the statement in Minneapolis on Tuesday, the gunman shot a motorist multiple times in a road rage incident, and in Houston on Wednesday. So these are different ones, I guess. They're trying to explain. There was a couple, this past week, not this week, I mean the week before. There was one in Houston on Wednesday, a brawl involving several adults broke out over a parking space in Houston Zoo. So the latest one, though, again, is this guy, Kevin Smith. I really don't know him. I don't follow sports, so I can't really say much. Sorry. I'm like kissing the mic. I'm giving a blowjob, really. No, I'm being sarcastic. Hey, by the way, really got guys' attention tonight. This girl is, like, really hot. But it's kind of scary because she's made up to look like Jigsaw, I guess, that doll in, what is it, those Saw movies. But she looks so incredibly like a puppet. Like, you can tell it's a girl, but she's made up such like a puppet. You know, she looks like a hot Jigsaw, if that could be a possible case, because it's a puppet. But she looks like a puppet. It's been driving guys crazy. It's like, well, this is a great makeup job. The girl really looks like a human puppet. I mean, literally, her, you know, she was able to put the makeup on in such a way to give her cheekbones and her eyes and her face and everything. She looks like a human puppet. I'm not even fucking kidding. So, like, I'm like looking at it, it's like, yeah, she's really hot, but she looks really good. I mean, she looks incredible. So everybody was going off tonight about that. So I just had to mention that. And hey, by the way, it was funny. I didn't realize this movie actually was going to ever come out. I bought this movie tonight. I'm afraid to open up my email because you're going to hear all that noise. I do have my mic off, though. Anyway, there was this movie. It was like one of the last movies, close to one of the last movies. I'm opening up my email now. And it's called this film that was technically, it got banned pretty much everywhere. Every country had banned this one movie. You're probably asking, okay, why don't you just give me the name of the movie? Okay, I will. The movie was called, I believe, a Siberian Film. I swear to God, that's the name of the film, a Siberian Film. Well, this film was banned because it was technically considered, not even just remotely, but it was considered a real snuff film. So it was not done in this country. It was done elsewhere. So, you know, there's those movies they say, oh, this is basically a real film. This is not fake. So, you know, Blair Witch was like that and everything like that. So I assume, I would hope that this, but I mean, I watched it. I downloaded it. It was like one of the last films I've ever downloaded. It was, but I couldn't get the subtitles. Like, I couldn't get subtitles to work on it because, you know, it was one of the last ones. So I never heard anything. I mean, it was like a couple years ago, I guess. Now, at least 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, Siberian Film. So it was like, okay, I thought that was the last I was ever going to hear of it. So something caught my attention tonight because somebody on Facebook said, yeah, I just bought that movie, the Siberian Film, on Blu-ray. So I posted on his post, you know, I commented. I said, I thought that movie was banned because it was considered a real snuff film, not even fake. I mean, it looks so realistic. Or it really was a real snuff film. Nobody really knows. But it just got, like, there was newspaper articles. That's what I first heard about. I was like, yeah, I got to check this out. A film that proclaims to be a real snuff film, because for those who don't know, snuff films cannot exist in real life because what a snuff film is you're literally torturing, you know, a person. Basically, it's generally women, torturing them to death, sexually assaulting them, and then killing them. So it's illegal to make, you know, and actually make money on a snuff film. And the whole thing was, there was a movie called 8mm years ago that was made. And the whole premise of snuff films is it's basically with people who have just too much money and there's nothing left in their life that actually, you know, entertains them. So they get their rocks off and basically torturing, sexually assaulting, and basically eventually killing a woman. I mean, it can be a man too, but generally when you know, the whole, it's like an exotic, I'm trying to think of the right word, exotica film where it ends where the woman gets basically brutally murdered. So yeah, here I got it. Here I bought it. Now I'm not I am a sadistic fuck. Who am I kidding? I really am. So I was like, but hey, this is Siberian Film. They actually really, did make this. It says it's arriving Thursday, so that'll be tomorrow. But yeah, it actually got released And I don't know how, because they said this film was supposed to be like, it got such in so much trouble. I mean, I'm not even kidding. The country it was made in, they got a lot of fucking trouble for that movie. Siberian Film. So this guy said he bought it. It was like, it's impossible. You couldn't have bought that film. That film was banned. Like in every country, not even just major countries. It was like banned in every country. And the reason was because it was technically considered a real snuff film. So again, they really can't exist. But, in other countries, they can get away with shit that we can't get away with. I mean, even stuff that would be considered real snuff. So, anyway, after this guy, it was like, no, it can't be the same film. And I looked, I was like, wait a minute. I looked at some screenshots. I was like, no, this is the film that I read about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer, that this film was officially banned, and it gotten it had major issues because, again, it was considered a real snuff film. Which, again, if it was, which I'm hoping it isn't, I would assume whoever would make a film like that would probably end up in jail, or at least serving some pretty serious, what do you call it, time behind bars, or even worse. So anyway, I ended up buying it. It was like $14. And I figured, you know what? I've heard so much about this film. A film like that could be, honestly, I did see a little bit of it. It was really disturbing because you didn't have to really, to make it out, you didn't have to you didn't have to really, you watch films like that, honestly, I hate to say it for us sick people out there who like real gory horror films. You're not watching it because it's, to find out what the theme of the, or follow a dialogue. You're watching it just because, it's like there's really, I've said this in the past. It's like people who, when you see a really bad accident, because I remember years ago, I posted it more than once, where this girl stole her father's car, drove extremely fast, and she killed herself, and her head looked like grated cheese. Like there was... The pictures were so sickening. They got released, all tops. The pictures from the crime, or from her death scene. This was a long time ago. That I found them. I dug them up because they said, "Oh yeah, the coroner who had taken the pictures had released the pictures of her. Like there was literally shrapnels of the car, and her head was sheared down like a cheese grater. Her top of her head was graded down that you could see chunks of brain matter and brain like laying all over the place. I'm not even making it up. And it was so grotesque. Like my one friend, Todd, he usually has a strong stomach for everything. He looked at those pictures and I said, yeah, I was just like surprised how these got leaked because they got sued, the coronary place. They got like in serious trouble because it was their daughter. She was only like 17. She was underage. And her head was literally grated down like it was put in the cheese grater because it was hitting the asphalt, and it got grated down. And part of the brain matter and her hair and pieces of skull matter, or, pieces of skull, like bone, were stuck in the car. Like they were shredded into the car. And I was looking at his pictures, and I said, I think that's brain there, and I think that's that. And he was getting he never gets grossed out. I mean, he's got a stronger stomach than I do. He's usually picking on me about this, my friend Todd. And he says, you got to stop talking about it. You're really making me, I'm like ready to like hurl. He told me, please stop. I'm ready to hurl. I was just so fascinated by it. But the bottom line is people like get attracted to this stuff. Like, oh my God, do you see that? Like when you see a severe accident, I mean, there was accidents around here. I think there was one right outside my house years ago, in our, outside our development, where they literally had to use the jaws of life to get the person out of the car. And I think they were already dead, or they were like basically being held alive from, basically their, one of those incidents you get the person gets in such a bad accident, you release the pressure, they're going to die. But people like are like flies on shit to that stuff. They're going to be like all over that stuff. So you're probably thinking, well, you're a really sick fuck. You really want to buy a snuff film that could be real? And it was like, yeah, because it's no different than anybody who sees a really bad accident. And people, like when you see a car accident on the side of the road, people slow down. They want to see like, hey, am I going to see like some really gross shit because, you know, hey, I think this is great. They're not going to admit to it, but they really do think that way. People, it's just, I think it's just human nature. Believe it or not, it's our animal instinct that we thrive on death. I don't know why. I guess because everybody's so afraid of death. It's like, you know, it's the closest you're going to get to death, especially when it's really gruesome, without actually you're experiencing it without actually paying the price, so to speak. So I don't know. So I end up buying that film. So, and I called a friend tonight, my friend Matt. I said, hey, you know, I'd like to lend it to you, but I'm afraid I'll never get it back. Because he was the one who, like, years ago, he got me into, like, he went through a phase, and he got me into it. We would rent films and watch them at the house, at my parents' house, even years ago. And it was really cool because, like, I loved horror films, but he introduced me to, like, films that were so off the wall that, and you know, me being a big horror buff, he was going to go, like, from A to Z on every genre of film, not just horror, but every genre. So when I met up with him, he was into the horror part of it, A to Z. And it was like, dude, these films are like really something else. I remember, I've said this a million times, but there was that one film I just left a message tonight, my friend Matt. And it was called Bloodsucking Freaks. And I never forget that, Matt, if you're listening. I never forget. I've said this a million times. Dude, with that part where the guy was getting a drill and putting in that woman's head, and then he took a straw and he started sucking like her brain matter out of her head, like through the straw. I got so sick I literally couldn't make it fast enough to my bathroom on the first floor where our TV room is. And I was literally, I thought I was going to lose it, but I had no food in my stomach, so I was like dry heaving. But I literally was like a stone's throw away from like literally vomiting. Like, I would have been throwing up stomach acids because I was so sick from watching. I was like, dude, I got to get out of here. But it's like, I'm telling you, people, you turn your head for a minute, but you got to turn it back and say, hey, what's happening here? I want to see some more of this stuff. It's just human sickening behavior human beings have. They love to see violence and death. I'm sure even with that poor man, Kevin Smith, I'm sorry about that, Kevin Smith. Will Smith, that I'm sure there was people there to say, oh my God, did you see that? That guy's got like, there's like holes. I mean, God, I was telling you about this the other day. I was watching that, the Punisher TV, you know, the Daredevil, and that was ultra violent. I was like turning away, but it's like you cover your eyes up, and then you got to like kind of look at it. I mean, I don't know what it is, but people just, you know, we're just sick people, creatures, human beings. I remember I just bought like, because I had it years ago. I don't think I've ever actually owned it, but I had to rebuy the one film because I just want to have it because it was a nostalgic thing. Suspiria, which really isn't violent. It's kind of stupid, but it was just like the whole art thing behind it. To me, it was just, there was another reason, not that. But then there was a thing that I had to buy this movie because I just really, it was like masturbation material. There's this black chick in there. She plays a prostitute, and she's really cool because I added her to Facebook. And this movie called Demons. Like, there's Demons and Demons 2. I hated Demons 2. I thought it was the worst fucking movie ever made. But Demons, this chick, she's really fucking hot. Again, this black girl. And I can't remember her name. And Demons was actually their Italian films, but I swear to God, I'm not even joking, dude. I was like, people, I like had to like pause the scenes with her just to keep the image going in my head so I could just take care of business. And she still looks really good. She really looks hot. So apparently she does horror conventions and stuff. Like, she posts stuff once in a while. So every time, like, you know, she posts anything new, it's like, dude, I'm right there. I'm like, I love her. I mean, I'm just like, I'm in love with this woman. And she's got to be like, that's hard to say. She's got to be at least 10 or 15 years older than me. I'm going to be like generous, but you can't even tell. But yeah, she was dressed like really decked out, spandex, you know, dressed like a prostitute. And was like, God, this woman's really fucking hot. I was like, wow. I'll be taking care of business at that one tonight, even though it's 3:30 in the morning, probably 5 o'clock when I'm done. Anyway, yeah, there was some weird stuff on the news, though. I saw this say, I wish I could make this stuff up, but it was from the Limerick, Royersford, Spring City patch, but it actually was in King of Prussia, where just on Monday night, I think, a man was found dead in the King of Prussia Plaza, which I know right where it is, after he self-inflicted a gunshot wound. I read this one early. It was like at 11:30 at night, so the mall closes at 9, unless there's bars around there that are open. But no, it wasn't even at like any of the eatery places, because I'm going to look at this again. I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, he was found dead last night. 57-year-old man, 11:30 p.m. So the mall's been closed for a couple hours. And yeah, I was trying to see, because they did mention where it happened. Gunshot wound, King of Prussia Plaza on Monday night, according to the Upper Merion Township Police Department. This 57-year-old victim, only person, he shot himself. Lord and Taylor. I know exactly where that is. I don't go over the mall. I was telling this woman tonight I work with, I used to go over the mall all the time. I don't go over as much because it's just a whole different atmosphere from what it used to be like. It's too urban-like. Like years ago, it was an open mall, and I'm talking like 30 years ago when I was a kid. And I used to go to these places. When I was a little kid, I would go where there was an outdoor, well, not outdoor, but there was a movie theater separate from the mall, and we used to go there. And I remember when I was a kid, 1980, I saw the remake of King Kong, the second remake, not the third one, but the second one. I love that movie. The guy when King Kong went on the Sears Towers or something like that. And I saw that. I saw a lot of really bizarre films, but on my birthday, the thing I wanted to do was there was like places over like a steak place, and there was a newsstand. There was this place called Jean's Bookstore, and I forgot to finish that story of the woman I work with. But I said, yeah, I used to go in Jean's Bookstore all the time too. I used to buy not mainly books, but Doctor Who stuff. But then on my birthday, I would get that. And you know what the big thing was? I was like 13 years old, and I was still like enjoying. I'll have to go to that in a minute. I used to like those. Because I wasn't a really good reader. I mean, I was at 7th grade level when I graduated from high school, not college. But I did. I graduated with a high school level of a 7th grader. And that being said, I'd open up this woman, Debbie Haverland's page, because I love her. She's the one who has the kid who's a vegetable. And I feel bad every time I see this kid's pictures. I want to go into that too. But I know he likes a lot of horror movies and stuff like little kids do, because the poor kid guy, he's like 27. He's got the mind of a child. I mean, she's going to have him the rest of his life. She's going to have to take care of him, somebody else's. That's what really just tears me apart. But I'm kind of like that. You know, I've had my things when I was in my teens and stuff, early teens. I would buy like those Dr. Seuss books, because I always thought they were really cool and they were easy for me to read, because I always had a really difficult time reading. I still do, but I mean, I was reading like probably 4th or 5th grade when I was in 10th grade, because I had a real difficult time reading. So, yeah, I remember the one year I got like a bunch of Dr. Seuss books at like 14 or 13 years old, like Go Fish, or One Fish, Two Fish, Three Fish. I love those books. But then I also got into Doctor Who, and I'd buy a lot of Doctor Who stuff. But then they would take me to a movie theater. This was over King of Prussia years ago. So, you know, and the only reason I kind of mentioning this, though, because, you know, people, like, they look at you at face value. They don't take it any other way. They take you at face value. They don't know what issues you may have or anything else. Okay, here's another person I have to add. See, this tears me apart. There's a woman on here, a friend of this lady, Debbie, and she's also got a kid who's kind of like a vegetable, and it just tears me apart, I'm telling you. When I see, like, these kids, because I know, I take it personally, because I know when these, if these kids, when their parents get older, they're either going to go into a state hospital where they're not going to be treated as well as what their parents can treat them. I mean, when these parents get like in their 60s or 70s, they're kids that, were little kids or grown up. Like, as the one kid, like I said, he's 27 now. What's going to happen when he's 50, 60 years old if he makes it that long? Because he's really got some pretty serious physical deformities almost. Like, his bones seem to, like, not developed right and stuff like that. I think his name's Boo Boo. And I mean, it just, every time it just breaks me apart. It's like, who's going to take care of it? Hopefully, I think he's got a pretty big extended family, this guy Boo Boo. And I swear to God, I think that's his name. But I look at these, and it just, every time, I can't say it enough, it just makes me, like, really just emotionally fall apart. Because you just want to grab this guy, this kid, whatever. And I mean, I remember years ago, I've mentioned this a million times. I remember seeing that movie, and that was glorified, believe it or not. But the movie, she put up a lot more pictures. She's actually got pictures of him with The Force Awakens. I mean, he this poor kid. I consider a kid. He's got, like, I'm looking at him now. He's got pictures. He's got Charlie Brown blankets and stuff. He's a grown man, but he's got to wear a diaper and stuff. It just tears me apart. And he's got, like, no muscle mass. And his one arm is, like, deformed. And I feel so bad, this kid. I mean, he's got to always be in a blanket. He's got to be taken care of 24/7. And but he reminds me, and that when I was a kid myself, it really upset me as a kid when I went and seen, because I could relate to it too, was this movie, The Elephant Man. It made me actually want to read the book. I mean, I was like in middle school. But I remember seeing the movie about John Merrick, and I read up on that. And I was like, again, I was in middle school reading John Merrick. And, like, I see this kid, Boo Boo, and it just gives me the same, like, feeling, like, I just want to, like, cry all the time. I feel so bad for this kid. And I guess part of it is he's never going to have, a normal life, so to speak, where he's going to be able to, have any type of romantic encounter. He really can't go anywhere that I know of. I don't think he can really go. He seems very contented. He seems very happy. But you know what? It's not even my kid, but I just, like, I feel so bad for him. It's like, this poor kid, I mean, he's going to be he is a grown man, but he's never going to have the life. And in some ways, in a lot of ways, when I look at those, I'm sorry to go off on this. I know I do it probably way too often, but I just want other people to appreciate him the way I do. I really do. But I'm just I'm like thinking, in some ways, maybe he's better off because he doesn't know what it is, like, evil people in the world. He doesn't even know, probably, or understand or comprehend. And most people won't be able to comprehend him. What's going on in the world in Syria, Iraq, Iran. He wouldn't understand that. I mean, his whole life is he's going to always have the mind of, like, less than a child. Just like I mentioned before, like my uncle. So in some ways, he's actually almost more fortunate that he'll never understand, or, the way he looks at life is, through, a plethora of toys that they give him. I'm looking at him now. And it makes him happy. But some people, I guess, we take that for granted. I mean, I guess that's one, like, people who are misfortunate like this, maybe in some ways they're really not misfortunate because, he's even got, it looks like a Batman versus Superman blankets and sheets. He's always got to be in blankets and stuff. He's not mobile. And he's very, very thin. I wouldn't doubt if he weighs no more than, like, 80 pounds. But he always seems like he and I feel bad because his teeth, he doesn't have many teeth. And it's horrible, but I think he makes other people happy because the only thing he really understands is love. And I mean, and he seems very contented with, like, he's got tons of like horror toys and stuff, and he seems very contented with them. I mean, in some ways, she's kind of fortunate in the way, even though she's got to take care of him, Boo Boo. And he's got a Superman versus Batman versus Superman blankets on his bed. And she's got to change him. He's got diapers and stuff. A person like this, a child like this, who's going to always be a child, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know hate. He does not know anger. He just knows how to give love and take love, not in the bad way. So in some ways, people like that, he does have, a lot to offer, because he makes you forget about the evil people in the world or things that are going on. I'm sorry. The reason I'm talking so much about him right now, I didn't intend to. But she puts up a lot of pictures, and I really just try to appreciate him, because she does. I mean, he does have a lot to offer to, people on Facebook and probably in just everyday life, because people like him, he doesn't understand again. And again, he's probably got the mind of a child, and sometimes that's not a bad thing. I'm serious. Because, then you don't know what it is to hate people or dislike somebody because they're different. So, yeah, I'm looking at him. The poor kid, I mean, the bottom of his legs, the part that should be your thighs or whatever, are probably no wider than my wrist. But he seems very happy all the time. So that, to me, just means a lot. I consider that, that in some ways, as horrible as most people treat this poor kid, he is kind of like, to me, he seems like a gift from God, because somebody as misfortunate as him has a lot to offer as a human being to others. So, and he doesn't have to work to do it. He doesn't have to prove. He doesn't have to buy, $100,000 house or $500,000 house. He'll never be able to work. He'll never be able to drive. He'll never be able to have a relationship. But he does have a lot to offer in many other ways. So I just try to like make people aware that there's people out there that, makes you just look at things differently. He's definitely one of them. I know her name's Debbie. I did put up a lot of her son's pictures. I mean, it just, the kid just makes you realize that there's more to life than just hatred and anger and bitterness, even though I am full of it, of anger and stuff. I know people are saying, oh, you're full of it, Walter, all right. We know that. So anyway, and that hot picture of that girl dressed up like Jigsaw, that's another MB picture. Masturbation. Anyway, there were some interesting stories. I actually sent one to my one friend, Matt, from work, because he's a big Star Wars fan. They said Star Wars, the original trilogy, will return to the big screen in August. Spinoff online TV films and news. So, yeah, it was on spinoff.com, spinoffcomicbookresources.com. So, I had to make a joke. This wasn't really funny. There was an article I posted, and it said, school security guard accidentally... Now, get this. School security guard accidentally kicked black female student 37 times in the face. In a row? But, I mean, how do you accidentally kick somebody in the face 37 times accidentally? I mean, come on, dude. I mean, come on, people. That is like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. That's what it's titled. So, I don't know where people come up with this stuff. I mean, yeah, I accidentally beat the shit out of somebody. I didn't mean to. I just accidentally did it. My dick accidentally fell in that woman's vagina. It accidentally did it. I didn't do it. I tripped and fell, and my pants fell down, and her pants fell down. And I accidentally put my penis in her. I mean, come on. I'm just trying to exaggerate that story, which it is the stupidest thing I've ever read. So anyway, I'm kind of happy about it. The one friend at work, he hates he hates the Batman versus Superman movie. Actually, that's too strong. He'll probably say, I don't say I hate it. I just dislike it a lot. Well, you hate it then. So the one friend at work, my friend Matt, he was like, work friend Matt. I told him tonight, I said, hey, don't worry, because Ben Affleck is going to get his solo movie of Batman, which I'm actually looking forward to. I liked his Batman a lot. So with some comic book resources, it said, are you excited to see the Dark Knight strike out on his own once more? Warner Brothers announces Batman solo film starring Ben Affleck. Yes, I am excited. I am really excited. I'm not even kidding. And it was another story on the same thing. Warner Brothers CEO confirms Batman standalone film with Ben Affleck in development. So, hey, that's really cool. So, I'm trying to think. I put up a lot of these gory things because I got those horror web links. So, there were some weird stories. One was the Times Herald. It says a hashtag Plymouth Township man faces several years of court supervision and sex offender counseling after he admitted to having sexual contact with an underage girl. It's just constantly, that's all you're going to read. It's like, I don't dig up these stories. They find me somehow. So, I forgot. I mentioned this earlier and I let it go. I did mention a little bit, but Friday the 13th, there is going to be a Friday the 13th in May. So, guess what day it is? I know it's going to be hard to believe. Friday. No, seriously, though. There's this place, they do these tours where they shot the original Friday the 13th. It's called Camp Nubibusco or something. So, I can't remember where it is, but they're going to actually, they actually offered if I wanted to buy a ticket. There's a movie theater in the town they shot it at, not too far from there. And I was going to get a ticket. I'm trying to look for it now. But it was like, okay, here's going to be another wasted day just to go see a movie, which they actually, believe it or not, they show it on DVD. They show it on DVD. It's on a, like a movie house screen. You're just doing it for nostalgic reasons because you're seeing in the town that they actually shot part of the original Friday the 13th. But, they're doing it like they wanted to see if I was interested in buying a ticket. And it's like, yeah, I would, but that's like from my house, folks. It's like, I think it's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, a 3-hour drive. It's been a while since I've been there. I can't remember the town. I'm trying to look for it right now. I'm trying to look because they're doing something different this year. So they said they couldn't get the campgrounds for that May Friday 13th. It's in the summertime, so they can't get the grounds because it's a private campground. It's owned, privately for kids. So any money they get, they actually the money goes towards the kids that go to this camp. They changed the sign and everything called Camp Crystal Lake. So, but anyway, this camp Crystal, where Camp Crystal Lake officially was, this campground, it's still working, place. I'm trying to look. I can't find it now. But they offer me tickets. I want to see if there's any. I'm trying to look for the name of the town too. Oh, Blairstown. That's it. Blairstown. So it's really cool. I would like to go because I like going to Blairstown. It's a very small town, by the way. It's no more than I think like 2 blocks long. It's very, 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 very small. But they were offering tickets. They might have even sold out. It's a very small movie house. Honestly, the first time they did this, I went just to see the movie. I actually took off like 2 days of work. I don't know if I want to do it this year. It'd be next month if I do. It was kind of cool because you're in a movie house, a very tiny one, with other people that are fans. But again, it did say the deluxe edition of Friday the 13th. So what you're going to see is basically they're going to show you again, the original Friday the 13th. So I'm trying to look if they have any tickets left. Because normally they do not sell out that quickly for the movie house. They didn't the first time. I mean, you had fans, though, there. They may even have sold out. But they actually, the money they got, the donations, the movie house in Blairstown, they actually got enough money to, I think, fix it up. So, and it also goes towards the campground, too. So the guy who actually runs, like, the Camp Crystal Lake tours, he was, when he was a kid, actually went to this campground. So, and then now he basically works with the campground, and he actually negotiates deals. So when there is actually a Friday the 13th, he tries to set up tours during those dates. Again, they sent me something out for Blairstown, and if I wanted to go see Friday the 13th. But yeah, I got to decide if I want to do it or not. Again, it might have even sold out by now. It is really cool. It's just it's a lot of driving for me. I mean, for most people, oh, it's only 3 hours. It's not that bad. Yeah, well, trust me, it's long for me. So, I'm trying to look because I got different stories. Like I got a story here from Patch. It says $2,000 worth of tools stolen from East Pikeland home. So there's like weird stories for people just stealing and stuff. Now here is a weird one I saw the other day. It's from the Times Herald. It says an 84-year-old woman from Doylestown was killed in a two-vehicle car accident on Sunday afternoon at the intersection of Morris Road and a Twin Silo Drive, Whitpain police reported. So I don't know. That's another thing. There's aggressive drivers. There's basically people not paying attention the way they drive. This woman got killed. So there was another one I got from the Morning Call, and it's the two men charged. Now get this. It was kind of interesting how it was written up. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Charged in a 2012, looks like Ben Salem Township shooting of, it says, of pimp they considered food. Pimp they considered food makes no sense. Yeah, Ben Salem Township, a township, and MDASH, a second gang member was suspect in a shooting of an alleged pimp at Ben Salem Township Motel, was charged Tuesday. Some weird stories, I'll tell you that much. And there was another one I got from the Daily Mail I put up. It says machete welding vigilance tie up three Afghan migrants in citizens arrest. So people are starting to get fed up with these migrants in their countries. Now get this, on something lighter finally. Harrison Ford and I guess Woody Call was talking about making an Indiana Jones 5. Harrison Ford and George Lucas. It's actually George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. But you got to get everybody's consent to make these films, all three of them. So it says Indiana Jones 5 is a continuation of Crystal of Skulls story, which most people couldn't stand that. They thought that movie was so bad, which it really was because it was like a Roswell, aliens, which made no sense. But they want to continue with that one now for the next one. So it's bad enough that Harrison Ford's really up there in age, but it says Indiana Jones franchise producer, now it says producer Frank Marshall, reveals that the fifth will be a continuation what came before. Now, that's kind of a disappointment, though, honestly, because that movie was so bad. It's not as good. I mean, honestly, the first three films were excellent. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, okay. Raiders of the Lost Ark was excellent. The second one I did not like, but I know a lot of people who did like that. The ones with I think the Aztecs or something. The third one was incredible. The one where they went back to Nazi Germany. They tried to copy that with the fourth one. It was just plain bad. So, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it as much as I thought I. Well, not really. I can't say I was looking forward to it. I mean, Harrison Ford's a great dude, but the man's like in his probably his late 70s or 80s. I don't know. He's up there in age. But, I mean, he's still got the voice and he's still got the spunk, I guess, but he's definitely starting to show his age. Anyway, just to let you know, too, it was funny today. I was watching, because I didn't get it. I was watching Supergirl. I still love that. It did get renewed for another season, so that's really cool. And get this, by the way, I'm trying to watch the show. I don't want to really buy it. I really do not want to buy it because it's so bad. Because some of those shows on Comedy Central, I'm not talking about Supergirl, by the way, anymore, obviously. But there's this show on there. I told the woman I work with, I said, yeah, the show's so bad. But again, it's one of these things. That's probably why I went into a this big, in-depth conversation with myself about, how people like things like train wrecks or violence and stuff. Well, this is not violent, but it's like a train wreck. It just showed it is so fucking bad on Comedy Central, and it's called Idiot Sitter. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrendous. But for some reason, I find myself having to watch more of it. So it's free on Comedy Central, which I have one of those Apple TV, the new one, the new Apple TV boxes. I had the old one. I gave it to my dad. I bought the new one. I think it's like 64 gigs. There's only 32 and 64 gigs. And the thing runs like dog shit. And I'm trying to watch, what they do is, I think, it's either Verizon, because I have Verizon Fios. They want you to go for the, higher bandwidth, which I don't have. I have, Fios, but I don't have the highest grade of Fios. They want you to upgrade. Or two, since, it's on Apple TV, and Apple TV charges you for those shows, but CBS has Comedy Central has a program for that. You can actually watch it for free. They make it run like dog shit, looks like crap, and it keeps on rendering. It's getting the hourglass of death. It won't play. It takes it had taken me to watch 22-minute shows. It had taken me over an hour and a half to watch because it kept on stopping in the middle every 2 minutes to render it out, and it was like, this is ridiculous. So I think it's a game personally with. My guess is with, and I think somebody's been hacking my internet at nighttime, because I notice at night it's around the early morning hours. I can't get any decent speeds on my Fios, and it only happens early morning hours for hours on end, and then it picks up. So it has to be something like somebody's hacking my, into my Wi-Fi at my house, my Fios. So it could be that too. But what I really think it is, personally, I think that since Apple TV is charging you for this, they're not getting any money on not charging for it when you can get it for free. So they make it horribly slow that you're going to get to the point, then say, fuck it, I'll just pay for it and I'll just watch this bad show. I'll pay the $30 or $40 they're asking. It's like, well, I'd rather pay $0 and watch commercials. I don't mind that. But they're not even giving you that option. So, I don't know, but it's called Idiot Sitter, by the way. I mean, there's some shows that are so bad on Comedy Central, but they are funny at the same time. This is just plain fucking bad. And I mean, it's a complete train wreck of a show, but I just have to figure out, okay, I got to kind of bleed through this show. I did this. There was a show on, I think, Netflix, because I was a big fan of, they made a TV show. It was the second or third one they've ever done. I don't know. But a live action show called Richie Rich. Because I read those when I was a kid. And it was so bad. I mean, it was horribly bad. But it was like, I'm going to stick with it. And I watched the whole thing. But at least it didn't play like dog shit. And I was able to get through it. Now, here's the thing. I have a PlayStation 4. And unfortunately, I was hoping that PlayStation would have an app for Comedy Central, because they do have some apps, but they don't have an app for that. Because if they did, I swear to God, I would watch it. I'm sorry about that. I would watch it on the PlayStation, because I've never had that issue with the PlayStation. If I watch streaming video on PlayStation 4, plays perfect, no problems. Try to play them on that ones you don't pay for, because I've watched free movies on the PlayStation 4 because there's a thing called, I told a friend at work, called Popcorn Flicks. And I've seen some really classic, I mean, you're talking like classic horror films from the 70s and the 60s, and they play flawlessly. But you just got to watch some commercials. I don't care. I'll watch commercials. I mean, you're talking like classic Tales of the Crypt, Vincent Price. I'm trying to think of the other one. Because he played Doctor Who in the film. Peter Cushing. Great films, and they play flawlessly on the PlayStation 4. So, I don't know. It just really, it gets me mad that, you know, and plus, well, the PlayStation 4 is much more powerful than, unfortunately, fortunately, but unfortunately for me, because than the Apple TV. Honestly, Apple TV is nice, but it's not powerful enough to, like, do a lot of stuff, and plus they want you to pay for everything, which I don't like. At least, the nice thing I like about Sony and PlayStation is they still believe in open source and the open source community. AKA what I'm trying to say, they believe open source means it's basically free. You know, it's people who are developers or whatever who make these programs, and they do it with no intentions of getting paid for them. They just do it out of the love of working and with gizmos or with computers, whatever. So there's a big difference. You know, hey, if computer geeks will give things away for free because they just do it out of the love of like doing stuff. So, believe it or not, people don't realize, but the PlayStation 4, yeah, it's a console, but that's like a developer's dream come true because, it's open source in many ways. That's what I like about PlayStation. That's not what I like about Microsoft. Even though I'm recording my show on a Microsoft laptop, a PC laptop running Microsoft Windows 10, I don't like Microsoft because, and obviously, technically, I'm a hypocrite because I'm running Apple products. But back in the day, the stuff that Apple made when it was Steve Jobs and Wozniak was more, they realized that the open source material was much, much better. And the stuff they made was solid, unlike the shit that Microsoft puts out. And I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I got some funny stories. I'll just read the captions because I think that's enough just to get you going. There's a caption of some guy with a goofy mugshot, and there's a cop car in front of a Walmart. Now, I got this. It says 12 hours ago, this story. And it says, it's titled, Cinnamon Roll Can Explodes Inside a Man's Butt During a Shoplifting Incident. And this was in Las Vegas. Martin Klein, 41, of Las Vegas, was arrested after shoplifting. The incident turned horribly wrong, according to reports, when Mr. Klein and his partner, Jerry, well, I don't know, but apparently he tried to shove up his ass a can of cinnamon rolls, and it exploded. They opened up. Those things you got to crack them open to get them out. Well, they cracked open in his ass, in his crack. So that was pretty funny. I got this really weird thing I keep on looking at. I don't know what it's from, but it's a GIF, and some woman putting literally up this guy's ass a sledgehammer up the crack of his ass, this old guy. I don't know what it's about, but it's some GIF. Hey, I don't know if people notice, but in Pennsylvania, somewhere in Pennsylvania, there is a Statue of Liberty, a small one. A friend of the one who just moved to his new place that he's living in, somewhere in Pennsylvania, I forget where. He actually got a picture of it from on the roadside, but somebody else just put it up tonight. And it says the truth behind the Pennsylvania mystery was revealed 25 years later. So you can read a story on this. But yeah, I think they changed it once because it started falling apart, and this one's starting to fall apart. It's a little miniature Statue of Liberty in Pennsylvania. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, it says it's from onlyinyourstate.com. Yeah, we do have in Pennsylvania. Somewhere in it's about probably 3 hours from where I live in King of Prussia area. Is the location, but you can put in for just put in Statue of Liberty for Pennsylvania because we do have one. So it's kind of cool, actually. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else worth reading. I'm not too happy about this, by the way. It's something else. The Statue of Liberty thing, I think it's cool. But they actually got a new actress to be the companion for the new Doctor Who. It's not coming back until next year. It's not going to be on this year at all. And it says EastEnders Raki Thakur or whatever. Some woman, she's a Muslim, is going to be the new companion. It says it will fill the shoes of Clara Oswald in a new Doctor Who. So they got to be so politically correct with Doctor Who that now his new companion is going to be a Muslim woman. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Enough already. We already have enough problems with political correctness, and you really don't know when to stop when it comes to Doctor Who. I mean, that is my cherished show. I watched that since I was 12 years old. And, why does everything have to be politically correct? Oh, I did find that story, by the way, the other day I was mentioning about the mother and son who have incredible sex. I found that story. It popped up yesterday again. No puns intended. Anyway, I have another story before that. Spring City man found passed out in his car at an intersection. This was on thepatch.com. Really didn't want to read it. I just want to see where it happened. Limerick Roarsford, Spring City, PA. East Pikeland, Pennsylvania. A man has been charged with driving under the influence after being found passed out in his car in the intersection of East Pikeland, according to the police. Charison Mano, 30, of Spring City, was found at 5:30 a.m. on April 10th. Police said he was passed out. He was drunk. And I do complain about this. People think, like my one friend thinks I make this crap up, that, her get me on, like I always say, well, it's young teenage kids, which that's the incident. That is a problem, too. But these people in the early morning hours, they don't have jobs to go to. So all they do is, when most of the normal people are going to work, they're coming home from, a drinking binge the night before. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's crazy, because I always use the word ridiculous way too much. So anyway, let me just go on this other story. If it was I found it again from MrConservative.com. Mother and son caught having sex. They're in love. It's really been pissing off a lot of people about this. 51-year-old Kim West and her son Ben Ford, 32, made headlines this week when they admitted they are in a relationship and they have, quote unquote, they have incredible and mind-blowing sex. So it's no joke. So if you want to find this story, it's on Mr. Conservative now. I found one of the links. It's not an issue where a friend sent it to me from. According to the Daily Mail, Kim was only 19 when she became pregnant with Ben, and she gave him up for adoption. 2 years ago, though, Ben wanted to learn more about his birth parents, so he made contact with Kim. They immediately realized they were sexually attracted to her. He was sexually attracted to her, and they shared their first kiss over a bottle of champagne in a motel room before they had sex for the first time. Now, though, he wants to have her baby. Her son, her biological son, not only is having incredible sex with her, and it's consensual for both of them, she wants to have his baby. 3 days later, Ben had told his wife, apparently he was married, wife Victoria, that he no longer is in love with her. So he was a married man, and he's going to divorce his wife to marry his mom. No longer in love with her, and was leaving her, his wife, this guy Ben, says he told his wife, every time I have had sex with you since I met her, I imagine her and I'm kissing, otherwise I can't perform. So he's imagined his biological mother, this guy, having sex with her because it's much better than it is with his wife. 2 years later, Ben and Kim are living together in Michigan, and they are described as having a genetic sexual attraction. The pair now plan to marry, and they want to have a baby together. I mean, this is like undescribable. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. This is not incest. It is a GSA. This is what it states. We are like peas in a pod and are meant to be together. Ben said, I know people will say We're discussing that we should be able to control our feelings, but when you're hit by love so consuming that you're willing to give up everything for it, if you have to fight for it, that's what it states. It is a once-in-a-lifetime chance and something Ben and I are willing to walk away from. Not willing to walk away from, I apologize. What do you think about this? Let us know your thoughts and comments in the section below. So people are not very happy about it. It is pretty disgusting, but they find nothing wrong with it. But look what kind of society we live in nowadays. This is acceptable behavior. Now, here's another one, by the way, and I always make jokes about this stuff, and I'm very always sarcastic. I thought it was like an old lady by this bad footage. There's this footage from I guess it's from Italy, I don't know, from some school teacher. I mean, she's a school teacher, this story from Breaking News. Now, get this. It says, teacher could be fired after a video goes viral of her dancing exposing her bra. Well, she's got like ultra tight, and she's showing off, and I think this is at the school, though. She's got on like ultra tight black spandex, and she's dancing around they're like hooker pants or those yoga pants, and she's pulling up her top, showing off her breasts, bouncing around. A school teacher. It says a teacher is in hot water after the footage of her exposing her bra while dancing her classroom went viral. Like she did in her classroom. While school officials haven't announced if she was suspended or fired, they said that they are actively investigating the case. She's shot on video. I mean, it's like this lady I was talking today who told me about the thing with this guy, Will Smith, who got killed. That was, an open and shut case. She was even saying, she said, that guy who, with that other, going back to that with Will Smith, the guy who killed that guy, Will Smith, this lady, and I agree with her, she said that's like an open and shut case. It was shot on video, and this guy murdered this guy, Will Smith, this NFL player. She said that guy should get the death penalty. He should get something because, basically an eye for an eye. And I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I told her, listen, it all depends on what state it happened in. If they don't have the death penalty, he's not going to get the death penalty, and he might even get away with it. So, but that being stated, here's a school teacher, and I think it might have been in Italy. She's like bouncing around in like stretch pants, black lycra spandex, shiny spandex, and she's got a halter top on her, and she's pulling up, and she's got like these big implants. A blonde-haired woman, young woman teacher, and she's bouncing around like showing off her hoochie and her big oversized breast and an extremely small bra, and they're like not sure what they're going to do about it, but she technically should be fired. And she did it in the school. The video first shared privately between students. The teacher who hasn't been named, is reportedly an instructor in a computer lab at the school location in Italy. So I was right about that. Students who witnessed her energetic striptease report on social media that she was just having fun and everyone in the class was joking around. So she did this in class. Somebody videotaped her, again, in lycra span. I mean, you don't wear a workout outfit as a school teacher, and then you take your top off and bounce your tits around in the class. I'm sorry, I kind of find that inappropriate. Unfortunately for the teacher, neither parents nor the school administration believe that this is a laughing matter. Well, it isn't. Well, thank God. Somebody actually wrote underneath. I'm going to read this one. They basically stated, and it's a guy because it's Jack. This guy Jack says, no, she should be fired and get worse on TV these days. So they said she should be fired. And then you got the idiot moron guys. There was another one. It's like, oh, yeah, I wish this would have happened when I was a kid. Yeah, I would have loved this. Dude, you're a fucking asshole. This is a school teacher acting very inappropriately, and you want her to get away with it because you wish you were a moron back in the day. You know what? You shouldn't. hopefully that guy, those idiots, those guys who think, well, God, when I was a teenager, if I had that, I'd be loving it. I don't know why people are making a big deal out of it. It's like, well, you know what? I hate to tell you, you should also not be a parent because obviously you don't know how to act like an adult. I'm sorry. It's stuff like that that just really I don't understand people. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to go any further. I'm still trying to figure out how to get tickets for. Don't get me wrong, I love women, but there's a right place to act sexy or inappropriate, and workplaces is not one of them. No offense. Hey, I didn't know this. You ever watch that show Saved by the Bell? There was a story I actually had up. Different note. The guy who played Screech. He was in jail, so he got released a month early. I didn't even know he was in jail. I did not know that. Saved by the Bell star Dustin Diamond released from jail early. Dustin Diamond, who played the goofy Screech on the popular 1990s sitcom Saved by the Bell, was sprung from jail Monday, a month early for good behavior, in Wisconsin, authorities had said. He's 39 now. So I don't know what's going on with these kid celebrities. I don't know what's going on with people in general, but that one's kind of weird too, by the way. So it's getting late. It's late. So I got to end this. There was some wacky story I got from AWM.com. As soon as her daughter took a bite into her pancakes, this lady took her daughter out. She screamed in horror what she spat out, her daughter, and it says OMG for oh my God. So what it was pieces of wire in her daughter's pancakes. She went out to take her kid. Her kid likes pancakes. There's a story on that. See, that's the thing. You go out to eat. You don't know what you're finding in your food. But this lady took her kid. I don't know where exactly it was. It was like the House of Pancakes or something. But she took her, because I do mention the place. I can't remember. This is a diner, actually. And they found pieces of wire in her daughter's food. Her daughter liked pancakes. I think it's going to probably leave a mark on her daughter for the rest of her life at this point. Now, here's another weird one, by the way. Missing woman's head found in a trash can after going on date. The Dreamin' Demon. I haven't told any stories from Dreamin' Demon in a long time. So she went out on the date, and she was found missing, but then they found her body parts. It says that. The body parts found in a recycle bin in Seattle this past weekend, Seattle, Washington. And her head was found separately elsewhere. She was like divided up. Seattle, Washington, the body parts found in a recycle bin in Seattle again this weekend before a 40-year-old Ingrid Lynn, I like Ingrid, mother of 3 who went missing after going on a date with a man she met online. That must have been some hot date. Lynn was last seen Friday, and where she left to attend a Seattle Mariners opening game with 37-year-old John Charlton, a man she met online. I never meet anybody online, but these people know where to find real winners, real prize winners. I'm cutting down to the chase because it says, hours after Lynn was first reported missing, a man found a gruesome discovery outside his home, located 10 miles from Lynn's home. Parts of Lynn's body, including her head and foot, had been wrapped in plastic and dumped in a recycle bin. Actually, not to be a smartass, but wouldn't that be considered, it's biodegradable because it's a human body? I mean, it's tissue. So wouldn't that be considered, I'm trying to think of the right word because we have this terminology at our job. God, I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank. We have like certain certain type of garbage that gets residual waste. Wouldn't that be considered residual waste, not recyclable waste? I don't know. I don't know any better. Anyway, hey, I graduated from Brady College a long time ago, 2001. Now this story won't open up. And, you know, I have this story. I had this issue of a friend who I told him, hey, listen, about this hype about Villanova. I actually did get accepted at Villanova years ago. I told him this. He never answered that. And I said, no offense, but this whole hype with Villanova and these college guys that, graduated from or won Villanova championship basketball or whatever. I said, most of those guys, because they do the same thing where I went at Cabrini College. I mean, no offense, they just push those guys through. And he said, oh, no, at Villanova, they're actually really smart. They have to get good grades. It's like bullshit. I mean, no offense, Cabrini College years ago added a whole brand new gym right before I left just to attract more guys. But you know what? I hate to tell you, but sports teams at any college university brings in shitloads of money. That's just a fact. So they don't care how smart you are. They just don't care about making money. Cabrini had to do that, by the way, because Cabrini is a private school. They don't make any money. It's a private sector school. That means the money I pay out of my pocket when I went there was only income they get unless they get some privately funded money from outside as donations. They don't get money like state schools do. So, yeah, I hate to tell you, most colleges, they are like dependent. I don't care if it's a private sector school or not, like Cabrini was, but they depend on these people who play sports. Now, Cabrini has a golf team. They had a lacrosse team, which is actually guys, too, and, a basketball team and stuff like that. They depend on that to make money for that school. And I hate to tell my friend Todd, but Villanova is no different. Every college, Georgetown, my brother went to Georgetown University, they depend on that. That money, their main source of money is coming from these basketball teams and other things. I got a cough. So, no brainer. You can fool yourself and think, well, no, these people are really smart at Villanova. Trust me, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. If you're somebody who is athletically inclined, that's going to make that school a fucking shitload of money. Come on, grow up. Wake up and smell the coffee, dude. So anyway, it was on the Times Herald. I was surprised. My mom told me about this yesterday morning. I woke up and she said, oh, yeah, some student from Cabrini College was found dead. I don't know why. So it says West Conchie police investigating death of a Cabrini College student. No joke. So I commuted from Cabrini College from where I live at home. It was like a half-hour drive. So it's right off of land. It's right like down the road, ironically, from Villanova, too. So anyway, the kid died of a drug overdose. And they said it's undetermined, even though they did say he died of drug overdose. And they said, oh, yeah, they were very quiet, peaceful kids that lived in the house. We always, the guy was 22 years old. It's like, no offense. I know on Cabrini College campus that when I went there, the only thing those kids had to look forward to were partying every fucking night. That's all they fucking did was alcohol parties. And I mean, that was the first time I ever heard, because I don't drink. I never drank. I never did drugs. It's the first time I ever heard about Jell-O shots, because that's all they ever did. They had hard liquor and they did Jell-O shots on a daily basis. And the professors would let it go, because I remember, especially the people on the sports teams, like there was one guy named Jeremy. He was on the golf team and he was on the lacrosse team, I think. I don't know. He was definitely on the golf team. They had a golf team at Cabrini College. They probably still do. But the professor, it was my history professor, he would say, yeah, I guess you guys were partying the night before, so I'm going to take it easy on you. Especially those that were in the sports teams. Because, trust me, they walked on eggshells for the people that were sports affiliated. Now, Cabrini College is considered a prestigious school. We had people who would triple space and use 14-inch fonts for essay papers, which the one professor said he's not going to deal with it. He doesn't care if you're on a sports team or not. But they try to get away with that. Ears are killing me right now, so I got to end this. The headset's killing my ears. So, yeah, rude awakening, yeah. Doesn't take a rocket scientist. I mean, they don't, people They give you that 4.0 just to keep you on these teams because that is money out of their pocket. If they lose you, if you fail out because you have a 2.0 or 1.0, that school is fucked. So they're going to do everything to make sure you get like a high GPA. I'm not kidding. So I don't believe that bullshit. But this was, I know Cabrini College for a fact was a party school. I mean, I complained about that in the past. They really are. They were a party school, so can't hide the facts. So anyway, I had a laugh about this, but somebody had posted as I had just taken it. It was a sign, a billboard that was actually put up somewhere from Overpass for America. It's a real photo, and it says liberal on there. Liberal, liberals, the left. And it's broken down what each letter means. It means it's like they were trying to say, well, it's a synonym. What do you call that? Like a word made up. Well, they're actually taking it reverse. And it's funny. Somebody wrote underneath, whoever posted this, they said, these should be in all 50 states. And it's a big billboard, and it says liberal. And it breaks it down, Liberal. And I'm going to say what it says underneath of each letter. Lazy, ignorant bastard, exuding racism and lies. I swear to God, it's a real billboard sign, so it was really, really, really funny. I loved it. So, I do got some other cool stuff on there. I had some stuff posted about 8-tracks, which kind of got me interested. My brother, in his car, he had a GTO back in the day. He rebuilt. He actually had 2 of them. I guess one was like a Pontiac that was on the same line body style-wise as a GTO, but he did have a GTO. I forget which year, like a 69 or something. And I remember in that car, he did have an 8-track that he put in there. I still remember that. And he had one that he never put into the car. But, yeah, it was really, really cool. But they sounded like shit 8-tracks. They sound like a lot of hissing and shit. So I had something on that. I had some story that somebody mentioned to me. So I had posted on my Facebook page. I mentioned this last week. And it was something, local paper, local news. It was in reporteronline.com, but it was actually in the Mercury paper, the Reporter, actually, I meant. But it said place called Merck. Merck employee charged with assault waivers hearing. Whit Payne, a 47-year-old Merck kitchen worker, arrested last month for allegedly threatening and tussling with an Upper Gwinnett cop who responded to a pharmaceutical company after he punched out a coworker in the face during, I guess, work hours. I don't know. So that was pretty interesting. There was a story going back and forth about Johnny Depp, if he's actually going to come to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. They actually said in the morning call first that he wasn't. It was something made up. And now they're saying, yeah, Johnny Depp is coming to Pennsylvania, to Bethlehem. It would be kind of cool. I know the guy is really wacky, off the wall. Kevin Smith loves him. He's friends with Johnny Depp. I wouldn't mind meeting the man. I don't believe in his politics, but I wouldn't mind meeting the man. So there was that. And there was something really funny from Overpass for America. Bernie Sanders, backed by Nazi collaborator George Soros, #04A #news. Mr. Americana, Overpass News Desktop, February 10th, 2016. Overpasses for passes for America via WND New York, an anti-establishment movement for the left, the Bears. And it has a picture of Bernie, of the Third Reich. It's a picture of a Third Reich person. What do you call it? The SS. And it has a picture of Bernie Sanders' face in there. That's funny because Bernie Sanders is actually Jewish, so that makes it even more entertaining. There's another story, NBC News. I'm just going to read it real quick. Man arrested in case of woman missing online date after body parts found in Seattle. I already read that one, so I don't need to read it again, I guess. The woman, they found her head in one place and some other goofy crap other places, or body parts other places. So, hey, I'm getting really psyched. I don't know when that's coming out, but they got some... I love Sherry Moon Zombie, but... and the reason I mentioned that, I mean, she's up there in age, but I think she's still kind of hot looking. I love her. And she's really weird. I loved Sherry Moon in Rob Zombie's, which I call the movie The Wicker Man. I forget what that movie was called. I call it The Wicker Man, like remake. But that was like a really cool film. She was really good in there, too. But, yeah, I think his next movie's coming out eventually, soon. So I'm looking at Sherry Moon's website. She's really hot. I'd love to meet her. I met Rob Zombie. He's a really nice man. Rob Zombie from White Zombie, formerly known as White Zombie. Yeah, what was that movie she was in? Because I'm looking at the picture. Sherry Moon. I see Sherry Moon. I think I have her on Facebook. You know, I follow her, basically. You can't really friend her, but you can actually, you know. But yeah, he's a really cool dude. When I met him in person, the thing that always freaks me out, honestly, about Rob Zombie, I mentioned this before, is he's a really intelligent dude. You know, he comes off being like, and when he's on stage, when we saw me and our friend Todd, you know, he's like he's a different person altogether. But I'm trying to look at that film because I forget the name of that she was in with him. I'll have to look up his movies. I think the next one's called 31. The one that's coming out. But yeah, when I got to talk to him, and he's not that old. He looks a lot older than he is because he makes himself look older than he is. But I don't like his films per se, but I mean, I just like his, you know, his thought process. Like, the man loves classic silent film horror movies. I mean, the man's a fucking genius. I'm not even just saying. The man is a genius. And he loves the most intellectual, probably put you to sleep horror films. I mean, I'm talking 1932, 1920s horror movies. I mean, the man he's not an idiot, to say the least. He is like super, super smart. Yeah, 31 is the one movie. Sherry Moon's wearing a Kiss, what do you call it? A Kiss t-shirt. That's pretty cool. You know, she seems like a really cool person to meet. You know, I hate to say it, but it's like Sherry Moon is like the woman you love to fuck, but it's like Rob Zombie's like ultra cool. Plus, you'd be afraid he would rip you apart. No, but seriously, the man's like super smart. And when I got to meet him, I asked him some questions, and he just like he answers them so seriously, like he's really like beyond a serious person. I mean, he's like, he probably just ages himself because you ask, hey, Rob, you know, what is the next project you're working on? Well, actually, I'm working on this right now, and I have an idea for this, and, you know, real serious. Like you expect him when you hear him talk, you expect a man to be somebody with short hair, a shirt, you know, a business suit and a tie. I mean, that's the way the man talks. But when you look at him, he looks like a really whacked out man. And when you see him on stage, he just is like he just transforms himself into somebody like unrecognizable. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's very entertaining. But when you hear him talk, he's like, well, yeah, this is what I think I should be doing next. I have this idea for this. I mean, he talks really seriously like that. You know, I have some good ideas. My friend was busted on me. Todd, when we went and seen him, he says, yeah, that guy was really asking too many questions. He wouldn't shut up. And then Rob Zombie came off and he said, yeah, he was asking too many questions. You know, I didn't think he was going to ask me that many questions. Yes. I didn't think that. But I'm serious. He really is like that. The man, just like, he's in like deep thought constantly when you hear him, when you talk to him. And he's the same man who's done House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Reject, the remake of Halloween 1 and 2. God, I got to find... Oh, that's a cool picture. Sorry, I get distracted. I got to look for the other film because I really liked it. Again, it's basically, in my opinion, it was kind of it's a remake of a very good one. Oh wow, that's funny. So he's playing a joke of being Jason Voorhees. Really funny though. Yeah, I got to look that up real quick though. But the other film he did with his wife, he has his wife in pretty much all his films though. But God, I'm drawing a blank, folks, and I do want to end the show. Ooh, Gianova Rossi. She's going to be somewhere. I wish she would come around here again, like Jersey. She's from Jersey, I think. She's an adorable woman. I love her too. She's another one I have a Love Jones for. I met her one time and I got a picture of her and I fell in love with her right away. She's like a big horror, like the B horror movies. I mean, like video B horror films. But she's made a name for herself by doing those. Gianova. I would think she's Italian, by the way, by the name. But real quick, folks, I gotta check out Rob Zombie's films. Ooh, I'm just keep on bumping my mic. Because I can't remember. Okay, 31, Halloween, Lords of Salem. Excellent movie, folks. I can't say enough. I love Lords of Salem. So, House of Thousand Corpses, Halloween 2. How old is Rob Zombie? He's 51. Wow. I just think the man is just so serious. I mean, he's got some really good pictures, but sometimes he looks like he's in his 60s. And I don't mean that in a hard way, because I loved Rob Zombie. I really do. There's a guy, I mentioned this before, his name was Jason, I used to work with years ago. Big Rob Zombie fan. And it was like, well, that was like when he was in, like, basically known as White Zombie. But Rob Zombie is, like, in my opinion, he's like, I think I really, personally, I fell in love with Rob Zombie as a character, personally. Honestly. Was when I saw him on MTV Cribs years ago. I said this before. I actually asked Rob Zombie, I said, dude, can you ever release that? He was like, no, I don't have the rights to that. I can't. I wish I could release that. I was kind of didn't like doing that. But it was like he did a tour of his house, and he basically said, yeah, I don't own the house anymore. I didn't like L.A. I had that house out in L.A., and I had taken over, and I didn't like it out there. It wasn't my cup of tea and things like that, or something on that line. But I was like, dude, I could hear him talk. I'm serious. I could literally hear Rob Zombie talk all day. The man's like super, super smart. Yeah. So, yeah. So I was actually ready to buy a ticket to see him again because he was pretty close, and he was doing a meet and greet again. And unfortunately, though, I don't know why I just kind of let it go. I honestly, I think it's just because I was out of work, and it was wishful thinking on my part. But I was actually hoping that I would be like, oh, I'll be out of work for a couple more months. I'll make it through, our contract. Our contract's coming up in the end of this month. And, hey, again, I don't have to take any time off for work. Well, unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for me. And now I'm going to be bleeding through time like I'm bleeding through money. Trying to get myself back into the swing of things. Hey, I just saw this, folks. That's pretty cool. Because I got to let this go after this. But Zombieland 2, they were making a sequel to that movie, Zombieland. That actually was pretty cool back in the day, the movie Zombieland. So, ooh, whoa. Wow. Sorry. There's this T-shirt I just saw, and it is very frightening, but it has a picture of like a shark on the T-shirt cover, or in front of the T-shirt, and it looks like the shark is like, it looks vicious, his mouth open, like ready to eat you. It looks like the shark is jumping out of the T-shirt. So I don't know if that's for real or not, but I tell you, if I wore something like that, I would be shitting my pants on a 24/7 basis. Like, yeah, I'd wear that shirt, but no, I wouldn't wear that shirt because I'd have waking nightmares walk in the streets because that's how scary it looks. So, yeah, that'd be definitely nothing for me. I'm just trying to do, I know, I keep on saying, hey, I'm going to end the show because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's almost 5. Well, it's after 4. It'll be 5 something by the time I'm done. But folks, here's an interesting story. See, I always find stuff when I'm going to hang up the towel for tonight, whatever you want to call it, end my show. Here's the thing from Fox 29. It says, prayers for conjoined twins. I have to add that. These poor little girls are conjoined twins in the worst possible place, and it's not in the back of a Volkswagen, I'll tell you that much. But, yeah. See, my heart, when I see kids or whatever, they're, like, physically, I can't even think of the right word, misfortunate in some way, it kills me. It really does. Hey, here's a funny t-shirt for those people who like Deadpool and Star Wars. It has Deadpool pulling off the helmet of a stormtrooper. It's a t-shirt you can buy. I'm not even kidding. Empire. It says, shh. The Empire has no idea that one of the stormtroopers is actually Deadpool. That's pretty funny. I know a lot of people would probably buy that, too. So, hey, I forgot about this. This is Willow Rain put this up. People to remind you that life can always get worse. She's got a picture of a cheerleader who has massive diarrhea while they're flipping her in the air. She's like shitting out the bottom of her cheerleader uniform. That was a story I wanted to mention, not that one in particular, but there's some chick. I mean, that's the thing about women that, like, you know, men just, I mean, no offense, I love women, don't get me wrong, but men always portray women as being, like, you know, on a pedestal. They smell like roses. They have no smell. But I swear to God, well, I'm not going to say the last part of that. I'm not kidding, though. I swear. There was a picture I found in some article the other day where this woman had on one of those micro lycra dresses, micro skirts, and you know, real sexy looking dress. And what was I going to say? And she's at like some dance club or something like that with her man. And this is no joke. She like shits herself. I'm not even making this up. I have the picture somewhere on Facebook. I don't have time at this point to look at it. No joke. So we got plastered all over the news. This woman, hot-looking dress, hot-looking woman. And she's literally walking, and it said she got shit on her high-heel shoes because she literally had a massive attack of diarrhea, and she had shit coming down the back of her dress. I mean, there was diarrhea coming down the back of her leg and all over the floor, and, you know, it got in her high-heel shoes. I'm not even making that up. I'm God's honest truth. So, you know, you always put women on these pedestals that, oh, well, women are hot. They don't do anything wrong. No matter what they do, they always look hot. I'm sure there's some sick fuck out there that saw that and say, you know what, I'm going to basically masturbate to that. This woman's fucking shitting herself in her hot, sexy micro dress. So, you know, I'm going to get off on it because there's people literally who get off on people shitting themselves and stuff. I'm not even kidding. So I was like, oh my God, though. I mean, I think I even got like my cutoff point that I was like, okay, this is a little bit, this is way too much. The woman might be hot, but she, you know, she's no different than anybody else. And she literally just shit herself. Like there's shit come down the back of her pants. I'm always like self-conscious. Like I've had incidents similar to that, not in public where somebody took a picture of it, but you know that I'm trying to think of the right word, where I've gotten close. My one friend Todd said this before. I think my friend Matt might have ran into experiences like this, where he literally got close or did shit himself. But, you know, you talk amongst friends that you've known for years about that stuff. But what do you do when you get caught? I mean, there's no fucking way to hide it. You fucking shit yourself, and you got caught on camera. I mean, and normally people in the past would be like, oh my God, I literally just shit myself. You should be embarrassed. Nowadays, with the sick fucks we got in our country, in our today's society, that's no longer the case. It's like, well, no, that's really hot. What are you talking about? So, oh, you know what? Here's another one I got, a Love Jones for. I never watched the show, but I think she's like beyond super hot. Oh God, and it opened up to something else. Now it just basically gave me a wimpy or whatever. Is that chick that dresses like she's older? She's like my age. I'm not even kidding. Is that chick that's on NCIS? She looks like a punk rocker or something, or like a gothic girl. She dresses like she's goth. I'm serious. I just like lose it every time I see her. But when I open it up, I see a picture. The article, it says NCIS is getting a huge guest star. Get the details. So I open up. It's on Cinema Blend. It's a picture of. Come on, this is ridiculous. Though it's a picture of Obama's wife. It's like, okay, you just gave me you gave me limp dick. I don't know how else to put it. You gave me limp dick now. I mean, I'm like looking at the picture on NCIS. I see that chick who plays that punk chick or whatever you call it, the goth girl. And I'm serious. She's like in her 40s or something like that, like late 40s. Let me see. NCIS. I'm just going to put an NCIS girl. Guarantee she... Oh, yep, she came right up. Abby, whatever, Scuoda or that, blah, blah. When was she born, though? She is like... I'm sorry, she's like super, super hot. Now, they got pictures. They won't give her... I saw it one time, her age, and I swear to God, she's like in her late 40s. I was like, holy shit, she's that old? Yeah, she's like really hot. Like every time I see her, it just, oh my God. No, now I can't find her age. I'm not kidding. I cannot find her freaking age. But yeah, she's really, really hot. Like I dig that whole, especially older women that kind of dress like they're teenagers if they're like decent looking, and especially the fact that she dresses like she's gothic. That really just like is beyond incredibly hot. I think her name's Abby Polly Perrette. See, I don't even know if that's. Yeah, she's like. I'm trying to see because I know I got her age at one point. I know I'm lingering on to like 6 a.m. No, her name is Paula or Paulie Perrette. She's 5'10". Yeah, she was born March 27th, 1969. I was born in 67. So I was pretty right. Yeah, she's like 47 then. She'll be 48. Yeah, there's just something about her. I mean, she's like, she's like really, really hot. Now, most people are like looking at her and like, what are you talking about? She's not hot at all. No, she's hot. And I think that this really, why she's, to me, why I think she's so hot is because she dresses like she's 19 still. And, she dresses like she's got black hair. She's got the whole gothed out look. And she's like pushing 50. So, to me, that's like really hot. And the fact that she can pull it off, like she's really gothed out in a lot of her pictures. So, yeah, that to me, that's more of a turn on is like an older woman who can pull off like dressing like a teenager, even like with like the little schoolgirl outfit and the whole 9 yards. I tell you that would like I'd be finished before like by just staring at him. I'd have to say, okay, I have to take a cold shower now, or I'm gonna have to change my underwear because I'm done. I know it's disgusting. Anyway, folks, I'm you don't need to hear about my deprived sex life, but which it really is. I don't have any. But yeah, oh my God. Now I'm thinking about that all night. Anyway, thanks for listening to me. I'm going to try to put this together really quick. I might have to use her as my, oh my God, I just love her so much as my thing. I mean, it's like non-relevant. I talked about her last 5 minutes. People are to see if I use that picture of her like the last second. But anyway, thanks again for listening to me, folks. And if you enjoy what I talk about, this nonsense, please let me know. Or, if you do like what I talk about, that it's not too offensive to you, then just try to get other people to listen in. So thanks again. It's the first time because I got my voice back, it looks like. So thanks again. This is iWalter. And Walter is signing off for now. So good morning, everyone. On Wednesday the 13th, April 13th, 2016. Okay, thanks again. Signing off. Walter.